What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee with Dudes pod. We're going to go over a solo pod today, and I figured we would dive in the topic that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I often have conversations with people about this too because they know I have a home gym set up. But what are the realities of the pros and cons of having a home gym and a home gym setup? So if you're thinking about getting a home gym, you actually have a home gym set up, or you're like, man, what's the best equipment to get? Should I do that? Should I get a gym membership? You're kind of going back and forth. This pod's going to be for you. So be sure to share it with a friend that you know, like, and love. If you feel like can benefit from it, let's dive in. So first off, what are the pros? The pros are the simple things, right? Convenience. For me, I wake up, I go downstairs. I have even just a single car garage. I believe it's close by like 11 by 11 square feet, right? So it's not crazy. Um, but I have everything that I feel like I personally need and anybody who trains here needs, and nothing that I don't. Of course, there's pieces of equipment that I would for sure love to have, but just space wise, I just can't swing it. So I have to be very conscious, square footage wise, how big of a footprint something is taking up before I get it. Just because I'm forced to because of the size of the square footage. But let's talk about the pros. Convenience. I can go straight downstairs. I don't have to commute to go to work out. It's extremely efficient as far as getting in and getting out. I don't have to wait for equipment. I don't have to work in with anybody as far as like, hey, let me work in with your sets, like how many got left or anything like that. You don't have to deal with, just certain types of people that you see at the gym, I guess, whether they're, annoying, super talkative, frustrating to be around. Like you're there to do your work, and most of the time, I'm in there by myself. Actually, I should take that back. I have a training partner, and we'll dive into that as well. Um, but majority of the time, you're not in there with like a group or a crowd of people. I should say that. So that's those are huge cons, right? Those are huge benefits. Again, you don't have to. Um, sometimes the hardest part that nobody talks about is getting yourself to actually go, to actually do the thing. Once you're there and you start getting the blood flowing, you're starting to warm up, it's actually not that bad. But sometimes the hardest thing to do is to actually get to the gym. There's that saying is the heaviest weight that you'll ever lift in your health and fitness journey is the door to the gym. And it's so true because getting there is, generally speaking, the hardest part. We want to talk ourselves out of it. We want to justify and associate and make these excuses as to why it's okay not to go, right? Et cetera, et cetera. You've probably been there. It's no different when I have the gym right here in my garage at my house. I still come up with those thoughts, those limiting beliefs, those constant, dialogue, internal dialogue that I go back and forth with myself to try to like talk myself out of it every morning, right? Every morning when that alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m. and I'm going straight down to the gym, it's like, oh, man, here we go again. Like maybe I don't have to do it today, right? Like maybe I could just skip today, right? I still have those conversations with myself, and I've been doing this forever. And so I would say those are the pros. The cons are, let's say, obvious pros. There's a lot of other ones as well, but let's go obvious cons. The obvious cons are that if you are training at home, 9 times out of 10, you're probably training by yourself, right? You're training with your spouse, or hopefully you got a buddy or some friends or something, like a tight knit group of people. If you have a public gym that you're going to, there's, most likely there's going to be people there, whether you're doing a semi private session or a group class, or even if you're doing one on one, you're meeting a trainer there. So there's always going to be somebody there, generally speaking, most of the time to help hold you accountable. So, you know, those are, um, those are some of the cons with having the home gym. The other thing is the upfront cost. If you're looking to build out and have equipment outside of just kind of like your bare essentials to be able to do more things than just like bare minimum, don't get me wrong. We'll talk like bare minimum equipment, dumbbells, a barbell, maybe a kettlebell, a sandbag, like that could get you so far. But if you're looking to build it out and be like, I don't want to have to ever go to a public gym again. So if you're going to expand your equipment, your costs go up. So upfront initial cost is going to be much higher. However, if you're going to commit to this for the long haul, which you guys know that we're all about sustainability here, it is going to be a large upfront cost, but it's going to pay dividends on the back end because that membership that you would have paid over X amount of years exponentially, right? Like eventually it's going to catch up to your equipment costs. Is it going to happen right away? No, but again, if you're committed to this for the long haul, it's going to be a good thing. So I would say I would count that as a con, just because up front it's tough. But like, you can uh, do this in a very budget friendly manner. Like, I got a lot of my equipment. So those of you that have seen my setup, like, I didn't just start that from scratch. I found a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I sold a lot of stuff to get better stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of just did that. And I saved money and put money aside and had a specific budget for very specific pieces of equipment that I wanted. I tried to look for them in excellent shape, you know, pre-owned. And if I could get it that way, I would. And then if I couldn't, I would buy brand new, if that was like worst case scenario. So there's definitely gems and gold to be found on Facebook Marketplace, on OfferUp. I haven't really found too much on Craigslist. I just, not a huge fan of that, but there's stuff on there as well. So like, being able to leverage pre-owned and used stuff and finding it in excellent condition. Because guess what? How many people go to build out their gym and they actually don't use the equipment? A lot. We see it all the time with, like, are you gonna, you can go online and see so many different treadmills and, like the Bowflex machines and like Bowflex dumbbells, like all that stuff is going to be available for sale because people are like super ambitious about starting this thing, and they get that dopamine high of getting the equipment because it feels like they've accomplished and done something. And then the reality sets in of like, oh, I actually have to do the tough, hard, challenging work of using this equipment. And so they don't do it. And so eventually they sell it. It just becomes like a place to hang laundry on and dry. Right. So like, there's so much gold to be found with some of the top brands too. Like, you can pick out and do your research and like find the best quality brands, and chances are there's gonna be that brand or some sort of close variation of it online, and you just have to keep constantly looking and like being ambitious about it and being proactive about it, and you can find stuff that's going to work for you. So I would count that as like the upfront cost is the con. I would say the other con too is a lot of times you're going to be working out by yourself. We talked about that. Like, so if you can get a workout partner or your spouse or somebody that's going to hold you accountable, it's going to help, even regardless of skill level. If they're better than you, if they're more experienced than you, if they're not, they're less experienced than you, it doesn't matter. Just knowing that somebody's going to be there at the same time that you're going to be there, and like, you guys are agreeing like, hey, we're going to show up at this time, we're going to be in here in the gym at this time. Like, there's something to be said about that. And it increases the likelihood and increases the adherence and the consistency, because that's what this entire game's about. You can have the most phenomenal equipment. You can, you can have all the coolest gear, and you can have the coolest workout clothes and all this stuff, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not consistent and you're not consistently putting the work in. You're not going to yield the results. So this whole game comes down to being consistent. How do you drive adherence? Have a workout partner, right? Like, you have somebody that shows up. Is it the only way? No, but generally speaking, if you have somebody, regardless of skill level, and they're showing up at the same time as you, you're going to be consistent. You're going to be more adherent. So highly recommend that. What other cons are there? Cons are that if you're like me, I'm in a townhome, so I'm attached on one side, so I have to be conscious of dropping weights. I have to be conscious of playing music too loud, like these sort of things, right? Um, I guess a pro to that is that you can pick the music that you want, right? Like, you go to a public gym, like, you're going to be listening to whatever they're playing, unless you bring your headphones. We know if your headphones are dead or you forget your headphones, how rough that can be. And then if you're psycho and you don't listen to any music, which I do from time to time, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, so there's give and take with both things. Also, this is another pro that I just thought of, is cleanliness and like germs, right? And if you're very pro like organization and keeping everything organized, it's great. If you go to a public gym, you've seen how those can somehow just be a zoo sometimes, with equipment left all over, dumbbell racks, heavy dumbbells where the light ones go, light ones where the heavy ones go, mismatched, like random ones missing. Like, you're not going to have that if you have your home gym, because I'm assuming you are going to take some sort of sense of pride in it, and you're going to keep it organized. You're going to keep it well maintained. You're going to keep it clean. I actually find peace in doing those things. I actually enjoy cleaning my gym at home, because it feels like this sense of accomplishment. If anybody else is going to come join me, I want to make sure that everything is in the exact place. There's no missing pieces. everything's very, very organized. It's cleaned. Like, that's super important to me. I care about that. And if I have somebody, close to me, generally speaking, working out in the gym, like, that's super important for me to have it clean for them too. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. One common mistake that I see people doing is thinking that they need to have the most expensive equipment and they need to have everything and be able to do everything that they can at the regular gym, or else it's not worth it. You can get away with a single dumbbell, a set of dumbbells, a kettlebell, a set of bands. Bands can go so far in what you can do. You can do full body workouts with any of those pieces of equipment: kettlebell, dumbbells, bands. If you can get your hands on a barbell, great. Like, you can do so much with just that, and then start to build it out as you start to following programming or following workouts. You'll notice there's pieces of equipment that you're missing, and like, you can start to piece it together as you go. Just look at it as like, far too often people think like, I need to get this equipment or else I can't work out. I need to get these pieces and I need to do it all at once and just do this bulk purchase or else I can't work out at home. You can technically, if you have the room and you have the space, you don't need any equipment. So that should make it more feasible for you to be like, okay, I'm going to shift my mindset around this a little bit. And I'm going to say, instead of having this all or nothing mindset of I need to have all the equipment so that I can do the workouts to as they're prescribed and do them to max potential, or else I'm not going to do it at all. That's the wrong mindset. You're going to struggle in your health and fitness journey anyways, versus just going, okay, what can I do today? What equipment do I have access to? Even if I don't have access to equipment, can I start by following a programming, improving myself that I can do this at home? I don't need to go to the gym. That would be a great start. And then you can build off that. Maybe you get a set of bands from there. Maybe you already have some equipment and you just haven't been using it. Maybe you just need to hear this and go, oh man, there's people out there with less resources, less pieces of equipment than I have, and they're making it happen for themselves. So I hope that inspires you to get moving if you haven't already, or to retake action. We always talk about starting sloppy. Sometimes you're going to have to restart. And what's most important is, how do you adhere? How do you stay consistent and have some fun in the process? Join a community online that helps you out, right? Like, we have our community, my Fit with Matt community. If you want to join us and join the workouts that we're doing, I got a lot of cool stuff coming out too that's going to help with this. Those of you that know me, I've traditionally coached one-on-one, a lot of one-on-one stuff, but I'm doing more community stuff in the works right now, and I'm going to get ready to release and launch it to you guys, so that you do have something structured to follow that's proven, that you can trust in, that you can rely on. So you can allow me to take the brain power away. So all you have to do is show up with whatever equipment that you have, show up to your home gym. And I promise you, you'll have a workout that you can adhere to, that you can be consistent with, and that absolutely yields results. It's proven time and time again. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. I could jam on this topic forever. I love it. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Share this with a friend that you know, like, and love. Maybe somebody that's going to start this at-home series with you, and you just want to get them to move for the first time. Or if you have been moving before and you're just like, man, I've been making excuses for myself. Maybe this is your sign. Maybe this is your sign to get started again, start sloppy with what you do have, with the resources that you do have. How resourceful can you be? You don't need to have your whole gym set up yet. And those of you that have badass home gyms and you're not doing anything, hopefully you hear this. Let's go, get started, right? Start sloppy. So share it with a friend, somebody that you know, like, and love, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.